Welcome to another video. Today we are testing out an upgraded version of Aspiring Spike's standard deck. Back when the Modern streamer was tired of Modern because it was broken in December, he built a couple standard decks that were pretty cool, pretty interesting, pretty spicy. This was one of them. It was a Kona the Rescue Beastie Smuggler surprise deck, and both of these cards basically cheat expensive permanents into play super early. So Smuggler Surprise has a bunch of modes. The most important one is you pay 6 mana and you can put 2 creatures from your hand into the battlefield. And Kona, when you tap it, if it's tapped at the beginning of your second main phase, you can put a permanent from your hand into play, any permanent, so land, would work, vehicle work, artifact, creature. But we're mostly cheating in big creatures with this. And Spike was cheating Kona by playing him, and instead of attacking with him to tap him, he was tapping him with a land called Scene of the Crime, which is a pretty bad tapped land that is, not particularly good. And he was using Archdruid's Charm to search it, put it into play, and that was kind of the gimmick of the deck to cheat Kona. Now, he built that deck, it was pretty cool. Cheated Atraxas into play, and Sires, and Vaultborn Tyrants, basically just big payoffs. But he stopped playing the deck because he went back to Modern again. And we got a few pretty cool upgrades. And those two are the Velhart Bike, and we got the Lumbering Wold Wagon. Those are two pretty solid cards, both 3 mana, both put your Kona into play, but they also ramp you on 3. So now we have way more ways to enable the Kona that kind of play into our normal game plan of just ramping. We also got from the new set the Sagu Wildling and the Bloomvine Regent. Both of these have the ability, this one basically is a land that's a tap land, but also you can play it as a 5 mana creature that just gains 3 life when it enters. It's just a 3/3. It's just kind of a better land. This is basically a tap land because the 1 mana search for a land, I kind of think of that as being like a tap land. Bloomvine Regent has a cultivate a staple to it, 3 mana. You can just cultivate and then shuffle it back in the deck. And the other side is a 4/5 flyer that enters, and whenever a dragon enters, you gain 3 life. So these are just kind of like nice ways to pad your life total, up your creature count, while also kind of playing into the ramp strategy. So this is kind of the core of the deck. We'll go through the full deck list later. Let's take it out on the ladder and see how it does. All right, so we are trying to cheat big fatties into play. And we have 2 land hand with a Llanowar Elf. I kind of really like this hand. We got Kona, we got some Scrap Gorgers to ramp, we got a Smuggler Surprise. We just got to draw some payoffs and we'll be cooking. So let's play an Elf here. On 2, if we draw a land, I don't think it really matters. We're going to be playing searching a land and playing the Scrap Gorger. I don't think we need to play a land here. I think what we'll do is use this as a tap land and get ourselves a forest and put a Scrap Gorger into play. Opponent is playing Roiling Dragonstorm, which probably means this is Esper Bounce, but we'll see. Could also be the Reanimation deck with the Oculus. So if we see an Oculus, that'll be interesting. Could also be Omniscience. All of these are pretty scary, but we do have Graveyard Hate with the Scrap Gorger, which is why it's in the deck. It's ramp and incidental Graveyard Hate. There's a lot of powerful Graveyard decks, so I wanted a main board Graveyard Hate card. And Armored Scrap Gorger kind of like just was the best thing because it's an early blocker, early ramp, and exile stuff from the graveyard. So we'll see if opponent is actually playing a graveyard deck. I'm going to hold up. We're gonna play Kona here, and I'm gonna hold up the Scrap Gorger in case opponent tries to do something sneaky. I'm gonna just exile their graveyard with the Scrap Gorger. So we'll just pass here. Looks like opponent is passing with no land drop, which is nice for us. Let's eat the Roiling Dragonstorm. If this is it is definitely the Omniscience combo deck, so that is good for us. So we have an option of searching for, trying to dig for a creature, but I kind of just like playing the second Scrap Gorger here. Let's start by going to combat. I'm not going to tap my Scrap Gorger because we kind of need it as graveyard removal. Opponent is bouncing the Kona. I could protect the Kona here, and I think I will try to do that. Let's see what happens. We're going to dig, and we're going to protect. I kind of like this line. This is excellent. Now we get to cheat a Atrax into play, and opponent is probably going to lose the game. Hey, yeah, that's the deck. Uh, so in case you missed it, when Kona's tapped in the second main phase, you can put a permanent from your hand into play. So we were gonna put Atraxa into play. That's gonna look at the top 7 cards or something ridiculous and add a bunch of cards to our hand. It's also a 7/7 flyer. We also had Graveyard Hate, so we know what opponent's up to. Opponent is playing the discard Omniscience, cast your whole deck combo. So we are going to bring in some Duresses. We're also going to bring in Ghost Vacuums. I'm not really sure what opponent is gonna bring in as far as like cards against that work against us. I'm guessing just counters, maybe board wipes. So that's kind of what I'm worried about. Um, I I am expecting also maybe early removal to deal with Kona, but they don't know about the Smuggler surprise. So what are we trimming here? I'm probably gonna trim a Sire. Um, it is a lot of life, but it's kind of easy to remove. They won't be able to remove Valgavoss, so I am going to keep that. I'm actually maybe thinking I might want to trim the Atraxas, but we'll see. We could actually, Bloom Vine Regent is really kind of a slot that's here to be taken out when we have something better to do. Um, so maybe we'll trim one Atraxa and keep a Bloom Vine Regent, and that's 60. And I think we'll keep it like that. So we still have the Scrap Gorgers, we got Ghost Vacuum, and now we also have Duress, and that's a lot of cards that are good against our opponent's deck. Also, stealing game 1 is pretty nice. See how things go. In game 2, opponent on the play. Seeing a Scrap Gorger would be excellent. Opponent's probably going to have some cheap creature removal, but we'll see what's going on. Alright, no lands, no keep. Great hand, though. Lots of great cards, but no lands, obviously. Alright, like this. Got Graveyard Hate, got Duress, got the World Wagon, got the Kona. So we got combo, we got some protection. Now, we obviously don't have a black source, but we do have this demo field which can search for black, and the Scrap Gorger gets black. And we just drew a black source. Not a black source on 1, but it's a black source on 2. So, black source on 2 is not bad. If opponent just holds mana up, I was thinking about duressing. Let's duress and then elf here. Really like that. We are going to be careful not to discard a... What am I counter this? Ooh, Moment of Truth. Alright. So looking to take an Abuelo's Awakening. Opponent has Spell Pierce we don't care about. They got 2 Abuelos. They got a Roiling Dragonstorm, and they got a Confounding Riddle, which they can hold up to counter. So because they have 2 of these and I have Graveyard Hate, I think I'm just going to take the Riddle. And next turn I can play the World Wagon, or I can just play the Scrap Gorger, which probably is important to get out. Opponent has no creature removal. So probably good to get our Graveyard interaction out there. That's really nice. Maybe it would have done something different if I knew I was going to draw that card. We'll save it for now. And I think I'll just play the Scrap Gorger. Opponent has the Omniscience, which is pretty bad for us. Didn't notice they dropped that just now. We don't know if they have a land, but they probably do. Knowing that, it might have been better to play the Lumbering World Wagon, but we will see. Opponent might not have any cards to use with the Omniscience. So we're kind of hoping opponent doesn't have a draw spell here, because they can just win. Again, maybe we should have played the Scrap Gorger on 2, but it is hard to know. If opponent has a dragon, that's really good for them, because now I think they've won. They get to Roiling Dragonstorm, draw 2. Probably winning the game here. Very unlikely for them to brick. Okay, we'll let them have this. I mean, they're gonna spin their wheels for a long time, but they have a combo. Well, we can show it. We'll stay. We'll stay for a second just to see what their win piece is. But in the other version of the deck, there's a battle. Stock up. This is guaranteed victory for them, basically. Stock up is going to, there you go, get the invasion, and invasion searches for a card that, oh, this is new. Jeskai Revelation. Gonna bounce the invasion, draw a bunch of cards, and then just get to recast this over and over until they win the game. So this is the combo. We don't need to let them play it out. We know they got it. They just loop these over and over again and win the game with that. So that's what opponent's trying to do. Now, obviously, that was pretty good for them. But we're on the play in game 3. We got the Duresses. We got the Ghost Vacuums. We got the Armored Scrap Gorgers. Let's see if we can steal it in game 3. This is standard, by the way. Standard, we are cheating out Omniscience on turn 4. That's just standard, alright? You gotta be ready for this. That is why we have the main board Graveyard Hate. And stealing that game 1 was super, super important. So we will prioritize the Graveyard Hate here. So this hand doesn't do anything. And against the combo deck, I'm a little concerned that not doing anything is a little too dangerous. So I think I will mulligan for a hate piece. And this hand is very bad, but we have a Ghost Vacuum, so I'm going to keep it. And it seems like this hand is so terrible, but we do have a Ghost Vacuum. So let's see if this works out. This may just stop opponent's deck from working. Now they do have the dragon that can bounce our Ghost Vacuum, but if we ever draw a green source, only one swamp in the deck by the way. If we ever draw a green source, we can cast our elf. There we go. Cast the elf here. If it gets countered, it's not the end of the world. And if we can get up to 4, we can cast Kona and cheat a Valgaboth, which is going to turn their deck off. They won't be able to remove this, and it'll exile everything in their graveyard that gets sent there, so we kind of win if we get Valgaboth in play. We got 2 Konas as well, which is nice. I'm probably going to hold up... Ooh. Okay, so I don't actually want to duress here, because I want to cast Smuggler Surprise, so I'm going to wait for opponent to tap out, and then try and dig for a Smuggler Surprise to try and get a land. So opponent, if they tap out here, we're going to Smuggler Surprise. Opponent's not tapping out. Blast Zone is very good for them. They drew the out to the card we have, so we definitely need to start being more proactive here. Let's see if opponent wants to counter this. Okay, they're not countering, which is nice. So we get another land and a Scrap Gorger, which is some more Graveyard Hate. Alright. Well, let's play the Blooming Marsh. And let's duress. See what opponent's working with. His opponent's probably going to try and pop the Blast Zone here, play a land, and do the combo. But they don't have anything in the graveyard yet. Okay, 2 Rolling Dragonstorms, the Riddle, and the Invasion. And they also have 2 Dragons, which let them draw and discard. So their plan here is to try and draw and discard and get the combo. So let's take the Riddle. Definitely taking the Riddle here. And so what's their play here? They draw, discard, try and get Omniscience. But then we exile it, so that doesn't work. They have no way to counter our Bike here. So I think I play the Bike instead of the Scrap Gorger, which does seem a little crazy with the Blast Zone. What happens if they pop Blast Zone here? I think I'm kind of happy if they pop Blast Zone. You know what? Let's use this opportunity. I know I'm thinking this play out, but it is a very important play. Let's use this opportunity to get more permanents in. Opponent might kill our Elf and our Blast Zone. Not our Blast Zone, our Ghost Vacuum. But if they do that, it's kind of fine. I'm expecting they're going to Regent here. Okay, Regent. Regent draw. And discard. Not popping the Blast Zone is nice. Might have been right to go for the Kona. Or the Velhart Bike, sorry. Because then we could Kona next turn, but we shall see. His opponent interested in Blast Zoning right now. We got 2 layers of protection now that we have the Scrap Gorger. Moment of truth. Tapping the Blast Zone also. We can expect they have some counter spells. Let's start in the graveyard. Take a Riddle. Alright. Now, we're going to leave all our graveyard pieces, our graveyard hate up. I think we try... I could just pass here, but let's play the Bike. See if opponent wants to counter the Bicycle. They probably won't. And if they don't counter the Bike, I can play a Lumbering Wool Wagon, which ramps me. Hard casting Valgaboth is not out of the question either. So if opponent has some sort of instant bounce, it's kind of dangerous to play the bike, play this, because now we're kind of losing our tap on the Scrap Gorger, but I'm willing to try this out now. I'm feeling brave. We gotta start applying pressure. And if this gets countered, it eats a counter from their hand, and I don't really care. Okay, yeah, this is fully fine. So opponent is going to have a difficult time cheating Omniscience into play and doing their combo in the same turn, since there are ways to cheat Omniscience into the graveyard. Second Blast Zone. I'm really surprised they're not cracking these Blast Zones, but we'll see. Opponent leaving up the draw with the Dragon. Not playing the Dragonstorm either is kind of interesting. Take this Spell Pierce away. Second Ghost Vacuum is really nice, except these Blast Zones mean that's a bit dangerous. So let's play Kona. Probably going to get countered, which is fine. If it doesn't get countered and we cheat Valgavoth in play, I kind of just win. Alright. Opponent doing nothing. Well, I think this is going to be hard for them to beat. Every card goes to exile if it would go into their graveyard. And to target this, they need to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. So, unless they have a board wipe, which is possible, they're going to have a hard time beating this Valgavoth. And if they're board wiping, then they're probably not hitting the Ghost Vacuum. And every card they cast, we get. So opponent's going to cast this right now. We're going to get it, and we can cast it immediately. Although it does shuffle. Okay, yeah, if they cast an instant, we could have stolen it, but instead we get the Battle, which I can cast next turn to get a Duress. Does opponent have a board wipe? They cannot target Valgavoth. And that is the game, and that is why we're playing Valgavoth. Valgavoth main deck is just completely hoses graveyard decks, and they were ranking up as well. And you could see opponent realizing that their deck is not going to work with Valgavoth. They probably only had targeted removal, probably not bringing in board wipes against the Kona strategy. That's a little fast. And we really just managed to hate them out. Love the Scrap Gorger. Love the Ghost Vacuum. That's why they're in here. Omniscience is a very popular deck. And you saw it worked out perfectly. So overall, first game. Deck is looking very hot. Let's go on to game number 2. Alright, we are on the play. And we have a pretty great hand. We do need a payoff, but we have Scrap Gorger and World Wagon and Kona. So got some interaction, got some ramp. Pretty happy about that. See what opponent is up to. Opponent maybe playing a control list. Blue-black can be control with a mill combo, or it can be the kind of aggro, tempo-y flash deck. We'll see. Opponent holding up their mana. I think, now this is a bit of an interesting choice. I think I do play the World Wagon. If it gets countered, it's not really the end of the world. Because we have 2 Konas. It might have been better to play Kona in case Kona gets countered. We have 2, but I'm willing to try the World Wagon here. Okay, opponent has a counter, so not much we can do about that. We'll not attack here, and end step will exile this from their graveyard here. But opponent is playing some sort of control deck, and I will say, although we have seen a lot of control matches, control is probably the worst matchup for this specific strategy, because our spells are expensive, and we're trying to cheat things into play. Alright, Scrap Gorger, tap yourself, and exile a stock up from the graveyard. Been really impressed with this guy. Okay, let's cheat out a Kona the Rescue Beastie. Opponent is probably going to murder this, but that's just life. We got a second one. Would have been nice. Maybe I should have played the Kona last turn. I probably should have. In retrospect, letting the Kona get counter is probably better. I expect Kona to die here. And we'll just eat the graveyard again. Opponent's not applying any pressure, but they're playing control, so they don't really need to. The opponent is passive, so let's eat a exhale. See if opponent wants to do anything. Doesn't look like it yet. Alright, let's play Fountain Port here, and let's attack with Kona. Kona will die before I can cheat anything into play. I'll be very surprised if Kona triggers. Oh my god, alright, opponent let Kona trigger. So let's just put an Attrax into play. There's... I don't know what opponent's plan was. Maybe they just were like, I'll just kill whatever you put into play with Kona, but they probably were not expecting it to be an Attrax, let's get... So I'm a little worried about opponent exiling stuff from our graveyard. So we're going to get a Smuggler surprise. We're going to get a Velo Heartbike here, I think. 4, 5... Yeah, let's get Velo Heartbike. Actually, thinking about that, let's get the World Wagon. World Wagon ramp is better, longer term. 4, 5, 6. So we have enough mana to put put the Vaultborn Tyrant and the Valgavoth into play. So I think I'll do that. This is also protection. Opponent is just drawing cards. I'm kind of happy about that. Unless opponent has planned some sort of combo, I feel like we are suddenly very favored. We'll see. Opponent thinking. 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 We'll see what they do here. Maybe a board wipe? Stock up. That's not particularly strong here. I am waiting for opponent to tap out before I Smuggler surprise. The upside being... yeah, so we get a Tyrant and a Valgavoth, and I think that's lethal, but we'll just have to see. Yeah, we'll see. Exile the stock up, put a Valgavoth and a Volborn Tyrant into play. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, that's lethal. So opponent should be dead here. There we go. And we even steal the Shoot the Sheriff, which is kind of nice. And alright, going into game 2, we know opponent is playing control. They're playing some sort of control deck. I don't really know what type of control, but we're going to put in our Duresses. I didn't see them try any discard. They might bring in discard against us in game 2, but I think based on how that went, I'm probably happy enough with just the Duresses. Yeah. So one thing playing this deck, maybe another Duress actually would. I've been bringing in Duress so much, I might want another Duress in the sideboard over the Baloths. Have not been bringing in the Baloths a lot. Okay. So against control, it's going to be hard to get Attrax into play, so I think I'm just going to trim some Attraxes, because it's one of the only ones we can't really hardcast easily. We can with the Scrap Gorger and the Velo Heartbike, but it's just very difficult, so I think I'll trim some Attraxes. And again, we didn't really see opponent do anything, so I don't really know what their strategy is. So I don't know like if I need to hate on the graveyard. I didn't see anything that would make me think that. So I think we're just going to run it back like this, and hope for the best. Could think about bringing Baloth in if we're worried about them discarding us. But we do have another game if this one goes badly, so. Opponent, gonna be on the play. We have a 2-land hand here with the Sagu, so I think I'm gonna keep this. We'll go, so this is, when I say this is a tap land, this is what I mean. Alright, tap land. Our first land enters tapped, and we have another land. Let's get our 1 swamp, just in case we draw Duress. Opponent. Not doing anything. Alright, let's see if we can bait a Spell Pierce. They know we have a land in hand. Okay. No Spell Pierce. That's fine. I'll play the basic forest here. Again, our lands don't really matter at this stage of the game. Opponent probably going to try and counter on 3, counter on 4. I can play around it by just doing nothing, but we'll see what opponent does. Yeah, so we can just do nothing, and then on 4 when they have like draw spells is when we'll deploy our stuff. So I'm gonna pass here. They probably don't have anything to do on 2. Yeah, and then on 4, oh, this is still 3 mana. I kind of am interested in just waiting until I get to 4, because like they can't really do anything on 3 either. So I'm gonna wait till they have 4 mana available, and then I'm gonna start trying to cast spells. Because that's when they have to choose between countering and doing something else. Okay, my turn. And the Bloom Vine region is probably the best outcome for us here. Although I say that, I guess Veloheart Bark would be slightly better, but this lets us get 2 lands, so I'm interested in doing this. We'll see if opponent wants to counter or cultivate. They do not. Pretty happy about that, actually. This cultivate just means we can keep ramping. And that's what we want to be doing. And opponent didn't do anything, even though they didn't counter. So now we have enough mana to Smuggler Surprise. So I'm thinking I'll just... We do have to discard a card here, which is kind of awkward. No second 3-drop is a little sad also. Let's pass and end steps. I know this hurts to discard. This hurts a lot to discard here. I could Lumbering World Wagon. I'm kind of interested in end step casting this if they do something. So let's just be greedy and pass to end step. I think opponent's going to cast something, and then in response, I'll try Smuggler Surprising. Yeah, see? 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 Alright, now unless they have a Spell Pierce, we get to vomit 2 things into play. The greed. My greed has paid off. Let's draw a couple cards. Put a couple dragons into play. And when I say a couple cards, I mean 4 cards. Opponent probably a little sad about what happened. We could have waited till this resolved, actually. It would have been better. It would have been better to wait until this resolved, and then put the dinosaurs into play, because now they get to choose what to discard. But I'm guessing opponent's going to board wipe us, but if they do, then we just have another turn to do this exact same thing again. I think I got to discard 2, which is sad. We'll discard 1 Kona. Kona's getting a little bit worse as we progress, and I'll discard the Bloom Vine. And then next turn we have 5, 6, 7 mana. I can just, if they board wipe us, I can just Smuggler Surprise again. We're a little vulnerable, but we were playing around Counterspell there. And like I said, opponent spends their turn board wiping, then we deploy our threats again, and see how it goes. This is not the sort of threat I'm concerned about. Opponent gonna just look at our hand and maybe take our Smuggler Surprise. It's kind of a little late for that, honestly. Not really that worried. They might even take like a Traxxer or something, so our payoffs are worse. Yeah, Smuggler Surprise is the right choice here. Loving to see Duress. Duress, very nice. Alright, so 5, 6, 7 mana. So I could deploy this in a Kona. That's probably the right play, but if I do that and it gets killed, it's sad. So let's just Duress. Duress first. Opponent gonna give us a card. Opponent giving us a card and sorry, 2 cards and 6 life. And then the salty scoop. Alright, well, that was a very nice control matchup game, showing kind of the power of Duress that tilted our opponent into doing stuff that was not too good for them. Oil Deep Gear Hulk also not too impressive. I was thinking we were not favored against control, so kind of surprised to see the very quick clappage, but you never know what can happen. Great showing for this deck, though. Showing the power of Smuggler Surprise and how you play around control. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Alright, on to the next game. We haven't seen any aggro today. I kind of was hoping to see aggro because I'm curious to see how that matchup is. But we have not been seeing any aggro. Wastewood Birch. Into the Land War Elves. So all our lands tap for green. So we're kind of mono green deck. And we have no... This is very bad against us. We have no black cards in our main board other than Valgavoth, which we're not really intending to cast. The black splash is entirely for sideboard cards. Let's just get a forest here. I don't need the swamp. No blood moons in standard, thankfully. I hope Wizards is not listening. Oh, repurposing bay. So opponent is playing a combo deck with repurposing bay. Usually they cheat in the artifact that makes token creatures every time you play an artifact. So let's do our combo. Show opponent what we're up to. Get a little light smackage. Just some light smackage. Just a little off the top. Donk donk. Put in a Vault-Bound Tyrant. So opponent is probably playing the new 4-mana spell that's like Collected Company, where you look at the top 7 cards, put 2 permanents to play that are not creatures. Saw Blade's gonna kill the Kona. Kinda fine. Kona's put a 7-mana creature into play and drawn us a card. So not really not really worried about Kona being dead now. And are we gonna see it? The artifact that I discussed earlier. No, it's Peril the Snare. Alright, opponent just going after the Vault-Bound Tyrant, but we ooh, we're 1 mana short. Sad. 1 mana short. So sad. Alright, well, let's Bloomvine and get some life, get a ramp on, get some smack in. This is why Lumbering Worldwagon is actually excellent. You're seeing it in action. Lumbering Worldwagon is not a creature, so during our opponent's turn they board wipe, it lives, and it gets very big and does a lot of ramping. Kayla's Reconstruction. And opponent not hitting anything too good here. This is probably not good enough to get them to live. Yeah, and there's the game. Alright, well. Opponent playing a Artifact Enchantment deck. And this is for the Overlords matchup. This card, Fade from History, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. And everyone gets a bear. So we're going to bring that in. It seems very good against opponent. And we're going to bring in the Stormkeld Vanguards, this big creature staple to a 2-mana naturalize. Just destroys an artifact or enchantment. Seems good. And I think I'm going to bring in the Duress. So we're bringing in a lot of stuff, but we got some stuff to trim. We're going to trim the Armored Scrap Gorgers that we don't really need in this matchup. And I think I'm going to trim the Bloom Vines as well. Just trim a couple Bloom Vines. And we'll see how this does. I think this should be okay. Harvester probably doesn't do too much against them. And I expect their interaction to be either more border wipes, more counterspells, border wipes. So this should be good. Again, another matchup with Duress. And seeing all these Duress positive matchups makes me think maybe I should just be playing 3 or maybe even 4 Duress in the sideboard. Duress obviously doesn't play into our game plan at all. Like this hand, we need 1 more land and we got Combo City going on. Let's see what opponent is up to. Always love to see the sideboard cards. So yeah, this is the deck, Simulacrum Synthesizer. So they play the Synthesizer and they get a bunch of other things into play. So let's take their Battlefront. This is the card that lets them dig really deep. And then next turn we'll take the Synthesizer. This is a Collected Company. You always take the Coco against these sorts of decks where they play a card like that gets 2 things. You always take the Coco. That's how it was before, and we're going to take the second Coco here. Oh, I could take the Synthesizer. I feel like the Coco is better. Like, if they just spend their turn casting a Synthesizer, it's kind of fine. So take the second Coco. You saw the Thoughtseize bug in action. We Thoughtseized their card and then they drew it. Thankfully, they didn't draw a third one. We know opponent doesn't... Well, we don't know opponent's full hand, but we didn't see anything that looked like it would be good against what we're doing. So I feel pretty safe Lumbering Worldwagoning. We do need to find a payoff to cheat into play with Kona. If we don't find a payoff, we could be in trouble. Braided Net is hilariously bad against what we're doing. Say Braided Net, just tap Kona and it triggers. They're just like helping us. Alright, first construct. Not seeing anything big to cheat in with Kona, but maybe we'll get there. Yeah, opponent, tap our Kona for us. I guess they'll tap our World Wagon, which is kind of fine, honestly. Oh no, not... Oh, they didn't even bother. Take action. Let's bring our Swamp out in case we find Belgavoth. Opponent trading our vehicle for our token. Let's get a Velohar bike. Now we just need to find a payoff and we'll be doing pretty hot. We even got second Kona in case something bad happens. Repurposing Bay to get a second synthesizer is a little scary. These synthesizer tokens get very big. But if we ever draw our Destroy All Artifacts card, it's going to set opponent back really far. We do have the sideboard answers for this. So payoff, sideboard answer. Alright. Not seeing a payoff or sideboard answer. A little scary here. I think we got one turn maybe to draw something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a token with my Fountain Port. And I'm going to block with my Velohar bike, maybe. So we have enough mana to do both. So let's play a Velohar bike. Gain some life. Try not to die. And then next turn, we will attempt to... Opponent should have tapped Kona there. We will attempt to draw a card and hopefully find some out to what is going on here. We're at risk of death. Death risk is increasing dramatically. Alright. Opponent getting in. Let's block one of these constructs. I could make a fish and block the other one, but I'm very interested in drawing a card, so next turn I feel I might have to draw. So we're gonna make a fish. Actually, I'll just make a treasure. We'll make a treasure. I don't think we'll live if we... Like, there's no amount of blockers we can make that could make us live. Actually, saying that, let's make a fish, just in case. Just in case, we'll make the fish. Alright, Smuggler surprise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is enough to do all the modes. Opponent has one card. I don't think it really matters what opponent could have. So let's just do this main phase. Unlikely to have a spell pierce based on the way they've tapped. Oh no! I don't think that's gonna cut it. So let's go. Let's go on to the next game. We were not quite dead on board there, but we were basically dead on board if they played any artifact. All right. So I think our plan is fine, but we just gotta draw better. So let's just draw better in the next game. All right. No changes to the sideboard. This hand has some waster ramp, no Kona, but we'll give it a shot. No Kona, no sideboard cards, but we'll give it a shot. The Volborn Tyrant can draw us cards. Sire is looking okay. Velohar bike is ramp, so we got ramp, and a lot of lands and some payoffs, so having payoffs is nice to see. More payoffs. Not really what we're looking for right now. But we'll give this a shot. We'll give this a shot. Smuggler Surprise was on the top. Would like to draw Smuggler Surprise. Well, no Smuggler Surprise, but this is actually a great draw because now we can make treasure. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can make a treasure here, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana next turn. And 7 mana lets us play a Tyrant. There's the Synthesizer. Opponent's combo is online. I mean, they're going to scry here. I don't think they would have done anything different if we made a treasure versus something else, but... Alright, let's Tyrant it up. Tapland's a little sad. Little sad. to see the tap land. Opponent, get the. This is their nuts. We're really gonna have to draw the. Oh, and this is the nuts as well. This was the thing I was worried about them hitting. They hit the best things they could hit, another synthesizer and removal for our dinosaur. So we really do have to draw our exile all the, or destroy all the artifacts card. I think once again that is the out. Maybe we should be mulliganing for that. Okay, so I can play a Sire. And if I play Sire, then I will maybe not die this turn, but then I won't be able to Atraxa. Really sad. Really sad. We gotta put this on Angel. And... oh, wait. Atraxa costs... we have 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Wait, Atraxa costs 7. I thought Atraxa costed 8. Maybe we have a chance. If we can live for one turn, we may have a chance. Don't see... a little sad. Not seeing our out is a little sad, but I guess... I was hoping to find our sorcery that destroys all artifacts. We could still be in a lot of trouble. We're going to get the Smuggler Surprise. We're going to get a land. We're going to get another Atraxa. I don't think the bear is going to be cutting it at this stage of the game. Also failed to grab an artifact. That was my bad. We don't really need an artifact at this point. We're not going to have time to cast it. Atraxa's got a block. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We could be dead here. 777 is a lot. Oh, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, I think we're dead. Opponent got us. Their combo was a little bit faster than us in game 2 and 3, and we got snagged by the synthesizer. All right, don't love to see it, but it was close. We had the outs in the deck. They just didn't find their way into the hand. We were a little bit slow. Opponent drew the correct cards for the matchup, and United Battlefront looking pretty sweet. This was a card I wanted to try, and it's looking pretty sweet with the old synthesizer. All right, let's go on to the next game. Alright, on to the next game. Now, we've seen a lot of counter magic today, and I would say counter magic is probably the best thing against our strategy, because we're trying to do some cool combos that are kind of mana intensive, and cheap counters will get us. Any land here lets us Veloheart Bike into the Kona, and looks like opponent is also on the ramp plan. Will we draw a basic land? Any land, actually, would be nice. Even the basic swamp. Opponent, Sandstorm Salvager. So this is probably the, oh, there's our land. Love to see that. Opponent is probably playing the Collector's Cage, which has kind of hideaway. And if they have 3 creatures with different power, they get to cheat something into play. And there it is, Collector's Cage. Well, what are they going to cheat into play? We shall find out. And then we shall cheat an Atraxa into play. Let's hope Atraxa is better than whatever they're doing. Opponent. Cheating in another Collector's Cage. Alright, that is a lot better for us than an Atraxa. Alright, opponent. Let's show you how it's done. Let's show you how it is done. Through my Kona. Resolve. Cheat a Atraxa into play. Let's look at the couple cards. Let's get this. Let's get a... could ramp more, but I think I'm just going to get a Tyrant. And get another Smuggler Surprise. And... that should be good. We'll do that. Play a land. And pass turn. Opponent, what do you have? Do you have the out to Atraxa? They have a Collector's Cage. Getting a Elspeth. Alright. They can give all their creatures flying or make a couple 1/1s. Or they can exile Atraxa. Destroy Atraxa, sorry. Atraxa has been destroyed. Kona, you will live. Kona is not living. Alright. Draw any land here. And we get to Smuggler Surprise again. We're getting the beat down. opponent forgot to protect their Elspeth, and we draw our only land in the deck that would enter tapped. A little rough. Do we have a way to get a creature? Oh, I forgot we have a second Kona. Missed the second Kona. So we get to kill the Elspeth. And we get to... Pretty nice here. We get to cheat a Vaultborn Tyrant into play. Gain a little bit of life. Draw a couple single card. And pass turn. And next turn we get the Smuggler Surprise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. Oh. Wait, is this lethal? This might be lethal. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Wait, maybe not lethal. Maybe one short of lethal. Opponent getting in. Not lethal. We are alive at 1. And 1 is not dead. 1 is not 0. Let's... Do we get in with the Kona here? I think we do. Get in with the Kona, put a Vaultborn Tyrant into play, and then max modes on the Smuggler Surprise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we're 1 mode short on the Smuggler Surprise. So I think we gotta hope that we get lucky with the Vaultborn Tyrant. The Vaultborn Tyrant, enter, draw us a land, thank you. Oh wait, we already played a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, well we're gonna have to just hope we can block here. 7 lets us protect and put the dragon into play, which is gonna gain us a bunch of life and draw us a bunch of cards. So we're not out of this yet. We were at 1, but we're not dead. 1 is not 0. And we have Hexproof Trick. Hexproof and Indestructible Trick. Opponent. Paw Patch Recruit. Opponent. Trying to get in with lethal. We will attempt to stop this. Let us put things into play. Dragon. Hexproof it up. Draw some cards, gain some life. And let's do a little bit of blocking. I think I'm interested in blocking this guy. And I think I'm interested in blocking this guy. And I would like to have some of my stuff back, opponent. Collector's Cage. And Collector's Cage. I would very much love to have this Vaultborn Tyrant back. That would make me very happy. Opponent gonna try and get extra damage in. I don't think this is the line that is going to pan out for them. Let's draw a couple cards. Opponent's got a lot of life, but we have a lot of dinosaurs. Alright. I will name Angel here, because this could let us cast Atraxa. Angel. Atraxa, so perfect and beautiful. The best angel, really. And let's... I think we're getting in with the Kona. And I think we're getting in with this. Yep. I think that's what we're doing. And let's cheat a Wastewood Virgin to play. See if we can get all modes on the Smuggler Surprise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Opponent getting a Tender Wild Guide with a baby version. But I don't think they can attack here. And we can do some stuff. We can do quite a lot of stuff. There's the Atraxa. Our beautiful angel has come to us. And we're just going to draw a lot of cards. Biggest risk is deck out now. Let's get Valgavoth. Valgavoth is fun. Get a World Wagon, get a Demolition Field. Just draw a couple cards. A couple. Just a couple. My turn. Let's play this. Let's hardcast Valgavoth maybe. Make opponent's trade super awkward. Oops, draw 3. We gotta be careful about decking out now. Okay, no more big creatures. We want no more drawn cards. We've done enough. Let's just do some slight attacking. I think I think we get in like this. Opponent, have you lost the will to live? Surely not. We are still in combat. Thank you, Arena, for not quickly skipping. Let's put a World Wagon into play. In case opponent decline on the search here. We don't want to pull any more cards out of our deck. And let's play an elf. Play an elf here. Pass the turn. Discard 6 cards. Elf. World Wagon. Kona. Scrap Gorger. Veilheart Bike. There we go, 6. Opponent has 6 life now. Probably doesn't have an out to what we're up to at this moment. We'll see. And we got him. All right. Very, 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 very liking our odds against this specific matchup. Opponent is playing Little Weenies, and they are playing Collector's Cage. So I think against Collector's Cage, I do actually want my Storm-Killed Vanguards. And I think I want the Harvester of Miseries, because they had a lot of little weenie creatures. And do I want my Anoints? I think I want my Anoints as well. And let's cut the Scrap Gorgers. And what else are we cutting? Opponent playing Little Weenies. Little Weenies for days. So if they're playing Little Weenies for days, do I still want to be on my Weenies for days plan? I think I still do. And probably just cut a couple Bloom Vine Regents maybe. Although Bloom Vine Regent's pretty solid. What's opponent going to bring in against us? Maybe more removal? So if opponent's bringing in removal, then we could maybe trim a Valgavoth. Maybe trim a Valgavoth, and maybe trim, maybe trim an Atraxa. That's probably fine. We'll run it like this, a little bit lower to the ground. We did win game 1, so I don't want to over sideboard. But I like our odds in this matchup. Opponent's playing kind of a slow deck, and we are playing a very powerful and fast deck. And here's Combo City. Loving the Combo City. There's the elf again. Elves are obviously concerning. Do I want to Sagu? I think I want to Sagu here. I think I'm interested in Saguing it up. Get our swamp. What are you up to now? Paw Patch. Paw Patch and a Haywire Mite. Haywire Mite does kill our vehicle. Doesn't stop us from just casting Kona though. Basilisk Caller. Not really sure what that is supposed to be for. Loving to see Smuggler surprise. So, do I play this and make opponent sack their Haywire Mite? Honestly, might be pretty good. Then next turn I can play Kona, and we're just kind of stalling until we get to. Yeah, they sack the Haywire Mite here. Not really the end of the world, and then we just kind of stall until we can Smuggler surprise out these dinosaurs. The clock is not particularly fast. Can even make a fish next turn. Although I'll definitely deploy the Kona. Opponent getting in with some Death Touch action. Let's play a Kona. Now Kona, you just attack to cheat stuff into play. Opponent stuck on 1 land. Living a sad life here. This means we can safely attack with Kona. So let's get in with our Kona. Opponent. Blocking. No blocking. Volborn Tyrant. Let's play a Lumbering World Wagon. And we got protection with the Smuggler Surprise. This might be a very quick 2-0 here. Opponent, what are you up to? Playing a land. I will Smuggler Surprise to protect here if they try and Collector's Cage. Alright. They only have 2 creatures, so can't activate the cage right now. I'm kind of happy to trade this for the half of a rabbit. Or trade half of my Volborn Tyrant for a rabbit. No plays. Let's do some attacking. See if opponent wants to trade their rabbit for our stuff. I will happily trade this for the World Wagon. Take action. Opponent, can you handle the value? So opponent's like win condition is kind of like a wrath, so I'm just gonna hold here. Collector's Cage. Yeah, I'm not bothered about trading the rabbit for my 3 mana artifact. Let's draw a couple cards. Gain a bit of life. Do I just kill the elf? I think I hold. I feel pretty safe holding here. Opponent, 4 mana. Board wipe does not do it. We got ourselves a Sandstorm Salvager. My turn, alright. I think we're winning this by doing nothing, so I'm just gonna hold. I'm not gonna take any unnecessary actions. Let's get in. Not really worried about Kona dying either. Yeah, Kona, you may die. And I don't see how they get through this. Now, if we kill the elf, they're still on 2 lands. We draw 2 cards, we kill all their stuff. And that is lethal on the opponent. Their psyche was damaged. They took the psychic damage. And moving back up. We're back up to Plat Tier 3. Alright. Doing hot. Let's go on to the next game. On to the next game. We got 2 lands. We got ramp. We got Kona. Let's keep it. Let's play the elf here. We can Scrap Gorger and ramp next turn, or search for a land next turn. Sorry. Okay, opponent. Another Omniscience matchup probably. So definitely happy to have this Scrap Gorger, and there's the Omniscience already. So can't play 2 Scrap Gorgers, but can play 1. Very happy to have Scrap Gorger. Not seeing any aggro. Interesting though. Interesting not seeing the aggro. We are in best of 3, so aggro is less popular. Okay, opponent roiling the dragonstorm. Maybe they don't realize what Scrap Gorger does. Maybe they need lands. And scooping it up. Alright, they do know what Scrap Gorger does, and they cannot handle it. Well, that is very nice to see going for game 1. That the Scrap Gorger just completely deleted the Omniscience combo from happening. Alright, well, I'm pretty sure our sideboard plan is just Duresses and Ghost Vacuums, leaving in the Scrap Gorgers, obviously. And what are we trimming? I guess it's just the Bloomvine Regents again. Bloomvine Regents and a Sire, because we obviously want the Atraxa. We want the Valgavoth to exile their graveyard. We saw that was pretty good. And Stormkill Vanguard, if they get the Omniscience into play, they kind of just win. So Sorcery Speed, Artifact Removal is not going to cut it. A little bit disappointed with the Bear, actually. Maybe just more Fade from Histories are better than the Bear. Since it wasn't too hot in the Artifact matchup either. Alright, I think that's what we're doing. Let's go on to game number 2. All right, we will mulligan for Graveyard Hate here, because opponent's combo is very fast, and it is what they are trying to do. So if we don't have disruption for their combo, either Duress or Graveyard Hate, we will probably lose. So like I said, this hand is not doing enough. This hand is also not doing enough, but I don't know if I want to mulligan again. We have Bike, Elf into Bike. This is too slow. We're going to mulligan one more time. Okay, there's the Graveyard Hate. Let's put this on the bottom. Let's put this on the bottom. We got Kona combo. We got Graveyard Hate. Let's give this a shot. Opponent may scoop to this. They have low resolve, low emotional resolve. No scooping yet, so maybe they have the out to the Graveyard Hate. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. It is the moment of truth. Alright, no Omniscience in the graveyard yet. Stocking up. They gotta find their answer to Ghost Vacuum. Because we will start cheating things into play soon. Smuggler surprise. If we don't draw payoff, we have a way to dig for one. Which is not bad. Let's get our swamp out. Would be happy to see a second piece of Graveyard Hate here. That would be ideal. Temporary lockdown. Alright, well, opponent found the answer to our Ghost Vacuum. They don't have their combo set up, so we got a couple turns to give them some slapping. Let's give them a slap. Let's give them a slap this turn, and then next turn we'll maybe try and dig for something. Dig for some payoff. So now opponent, they are kind of like, they got to set up their combo, and they also kind of want to remove the Kona. They do know that we don't have a good payoff in hand because we would have put it in play already if we did have it. So maybe they are interested in killing the Kona. Stock up. Playing some slow stuff. I would not have brought in the lockdowns against us, but I guess they didn't see. I think they saw. Did they see Llanowar Elf? They did see Llanowar Elf last game, so I guess it does make sense. This also makes me realize I should be bringing in the bear, because bear down. Pretty solid. Alright, so attack with Kona. We got 5, 6, 7. I could dig with Smuggler Surprise here. Try and cheat something into play. But I'm a little scared about opponent having a counter or removal. Also get to thin the deck. Alright, I will just cheat the Lumbering World Wagon in. And we've borrowed a lot of the lands out of our deck. 5, 6, 7. So the sweet spot on this card is 8 mana. 8 mana you get to dig and put stuff into play. Roiland Dragonstorm. Alright, this could be the end for us. If opponent puts the Omniscience into the graveyard and then gets it out immediately, we'll probably be dead. And there it is. And there's the combo. Alright, well, we don't have enough mana to stop this, so I think we'll just scoop here. Once they get Omniscience, we saw in the earlier game, once they get Omniscience, it's too late. So we're going to bring in some bear downs. Here. A little bit slow, but having a way to kill their artifact removal is probably, or their enchantment thing is probably worth it. And what are we trimming? Don't want to trim the Graveyard Hate. Can't trim our payoffs. Don't want to trim any lands. Maybe we'll just trim... The rest we want to keep. Maybe we'll trim Volborn Tyrant because it's a little slow. Funny to say this is slow, but it is kind of slow. Alright, we'll try it again. We're on the play for game 3. Omniscience combo. Like I said, Graveyard Hate is the way to play against them. We won't be keeping any slow hands. We won't be keeping any hands without Graveyard Hate. And here's the Graveyard Hate, so we'll keep it. I got a lot of land, so I'll keep my Sagu in hand. Let's play the Scrap Gorger. We get Scrap Gorging. I'm expecting opponent to have removal for Scrap Gorger, but we gotta play it out. Grand Abolisher. Oh no. Abolisher stops us from responding to their combo. So if they can get the mana to do the combo, we will not be able to stop it. That's very aggressive. Very aggressive combo with Omniscience. Alright, so next turn, we'll probably be casting this Sagu Wildling unless we find something to do. Only feeling pretty safe. They can't discard, they can't really do their combo until they have the mana to discard and, yeah, unless they have the mana to do it in our turn. Also, I guess I have to start exiling stuff on my turn. And are we, so I can't kill this. I guess I have to play the Sagu Wildling here as well. It's a second, I could play a second a second Lumbering World Wagon. But I kind of just want to get some creatures in play. So I can maybe pressure. Opponent needs to wait till 6 mana to do their combo probably. So having the Scrap Gorger is doing something. Also drawing this Cavern means we can maybe blank a counterspell. There's a Beza. Beza just to make a treasure. Does mean we are in danger of losing the game next turn. Let's put this on Angel. And if opponent just has the combo with Roiling Dragonstorm, we can't respond because of the Grand Abolisher. So I kind of just have to do this. And we might as well attack here because opponent isn't trying to combo. And we will not be able to stop it at the moment. See if opponent has the combo. If they go land, Roiling Dragonstorm, discard Omniscience. Okay, Moment of Truth. They got a luck into it at least. And they did luck into it. Alright, well, do they have enough cards to win? Second Omniscience. They do have to have... we'll wait until they cast the battle. That wins the game. Attacking with Abolisher. Alright, so they did not in fact have it. But all their spells are free now. So, what do? They don't have the payoff. They have infinite mana, so there's no, waiting for them to tap out. I guess we just attack. Let's start by attacking. See if opponent responds to the attack. No response. Again, they can't, there's no tapping out, so might as well just do this now. I don't really see a reason not to go full mode. Okay, found a Kona. And a second Kona. And a land. Not what we were hoping to find. We do get to draw a card. Ooh, and we do find a Stormkeld. So maybe I was probably a mistake to not just put 2 Konas into play and double ramp. But we can blow up an Omniscience at least. Not the play I was looking for, but if they draw land, maybe we can blank this Omniscience. We can pop 1 Omniscience too. Oh, an opponent doesn't draw it. they don't draw. They don't draw a way to combo, and they are just scooping it up. The Rage. The Rage scoop. Was opponent even dead on board next turn? We attack for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So they did have to block, and I guess they felt that if they had to block, they were just going to lose. Crazy. Did not expect to beat 2 resolved Omnisciences, but if opponent's hand is all lands, um, that can be what happens. So you see the downside of Abolisher. Abolisher, it stopped us from interacting with their combo, but it doesn't really help their game plan at all. Um, just blanking our interaction is not a way to in fact win the game. I really want to see what opponent's hand was. Sadly, we will never get to see. Omniscience defeated again, and mostly thanks to the Armored Scrapgorger, which is very sick. Also, Storm killed Vanguard, just showing off his ability to be terrible. Definitely interested in. Well, since we're finished, we'll do the wrap up. Let's go on to the wrap up. All right, let's go through the full deck, and I will have the deck list in the description as well. But we got 4 Llanowar Elves, obviously the thing that makes green good. We got 4 Smuggler Surprise. We got the Scrap Gorgers, which were great. I was really, this was kind of the flex slot. I was trying a bunch of different things in, and I settled on Scrap Gorger. Really happy I did. It seems excellent. We got 3 World Wagons, 3 Velhar Bikes to ramp and tap our Konas. 4 Konas. We got the Sago Wildlings, which is a kind of a land. If you check the land count here, you don't have to play a dual color version of this. You could play a mono green, but we're playing kind of 20 real lands and then 3 fake lands with the Sago Wildling. So 23 lands, which seemed like a good amount. I never really felt like I was short on lands, so I think the Sago Wildling's pretty solid. You saw it in, I think, that final game we played the Sago Wildling, and it pressured our opponent. Bloomvein Regent is pretty okay. Definitely gets brought out for sideboard slots often. It's in here for aggro. We got payoffs. We got 4 Bellborn Tyrants. We got 3 Atraxas, 1 Sire, and 2 Valgavas. The lands, we just have 1 basic swamp, a Billion Forest, 3 Blooming Marsh, 4 Wastewood Verge, single Cavern, a Demo Field, and 2 Fountain Ports in the sideboard. And the sideboard is where the spice of the deck, I think, is really located. So let's go through the sideboard here. We got 2 Duresses. Sorry about the way sideboards are presented in Arena. It's a little silly. We got 2 Duresses. We got 2 Ghost Vacuums for Graveyard. We got 2 Fade from Histories, which was supposed to be for the Overlord matchup, but we ended up seeing some artifact decks, and I brought that in for that as well. And it also kind of would have been better in the Omniscience matchup than the Stormkeld Vanguard, which was not what I expected, but was what ended up happening, so something to think about. Fade from History, very good. We have 3 Obstinate Balos, which are for the bounce decks. So the bounce decks play a lot of 1-mana enchantments. They just play them and you have to discard a card. So the Obstinate Balos are for that matchup, which is why they're in here. You can also bring them in against aggro because it's a 4/4 that gains life when it enters. So I was very worried about aggro when I built this deck, and I saw 0 aggro. So maybe, I know that aggro is a big part of the meta, but maybe it's not as big as I thought. Again, we have 2 Anoint with Afflictions for aggro. Just 2 mana, exile a creature with mana value 3 or less, kills the mouse, doesn't trigger its effect to pop itself and kill you because it exiles. So that's why we have the Anoints. And 2 Harvester of Misery for go wide token spam decks or for aggro. You can discard it, give a creature -2, -2, or you can just cast it or put it into play, and it gives every creature -2, -2. So very good against go wide, very good against tokens. And we also got the 2 Stormkeld Vanguards, which was the most disappointing card. I played this because it is a creature that is big and also can be used as a disenchant. But if we're changing the deck, I would probably cut these. And some other cards I was thinking about for the sideboard, just since we're here. And based on the games, how they went, probably would just trim a Baloth since, if we see that matchup with Esper Bounce, then you have 2 Balos, but I think we're doing not terribly against that matchup anyway, so going down to 2 Balos is probably fine. There were a couple cards I was considering for the sideboard before we leave. We'll just talk about other sideboard cards. For Omen cards here, there's an Omen Dragon, the Disruptive Stormbrood. Destroys a creature with power 3 or less for 2, and enters, destroys an artifact or enchantment. This one's a little versatile because it kind of works against two different types of deck. You can also cheat into play with your Smuggler Surprise, which will pop artifacts and enchantments when it enters. So seeing how the games went and what was going on, I am actually interested in this card. I think I would play two of these in the sideboard. Um, it deals with aggro, and it's because it enters and pops something, you can cheat into play and pop the artifacts and enchantments with your Konas. So I think this is actually a pretty solid card against aggro and also against artifact and enchantment decks. And I was bringing in duress in every game. Not every game, but a lot of games. So maybe another copy of duress would be good because we were bringing in duress a lot, and only having two duress, I would definitely have brought in the third in those games I brought it in. And I think that's the deck. So hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think. I don't do a lot of Magic content on the channel, but I know some people really love it. So let me know if you try this deck out, how you like it, and hope to see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.